First sacred texts, songs of deities. We will start with the praise song to Nintu and Kesh, and we will detect a framework story, a myth about Enlil, the state god, who creates this praise song, and Nisaba, who writes it down. And we will see what aim is behind all that. From text to myth, we start, of course, with the text. These ancient cuneiform texts are real gold mines for us, detecting traces of first myths and myths in general, learning about ancient literature and religion, and so much more. And also about the style of such texts. And you will notice that it is a bit full of repetitions. And these repetitions are evocative, they are conjuring. If you are listening to it, please think of a song. It's maybe a bit monotonous to just hear it read by me, but think about an ancient high priest or high priestess singing such a song, as we will see, in order to change the world, in order to evoke something, to evoke that the temple will be able to function. This is very important, as we will see. So the text starts in Sumerian, Namnune eta nam tabe. Enlil namnune eta nam tabe. Namnune nam lugala eta nam tabe. This means the princely personage let him out of the temple. This is typical Sumerian style. We don't know who is meant, who is the princely personage, who is meant by him, and which temple. The next line gives the solution. It is Enlil, and the princely personage, okay, this is still open to question, but the further text will show that a goddess is meant, a high goddess, actually the city goddess Nintu, the city goddess of the city of Kesh. So Enlil, the princely personage, let him out of the temple. The princely personage, for the sake of kingship, she let him out of the temple. Enlil turned his gaze to the mountains, to the mountainlands. For him, Enlil, the mountains were about to rise, clothed with their terrible aura. All 4 regions of the world greened up for Enlil as if they were a garden. The city of Kesh crowned itself with a crown. Kesh was now the head that towered over all the mountain countries. The text is formally a hymn-like praise song. The content sounds mythical. And from the text we can reconstruct a myth with several layers on the basis of new framework theory and methodology from mythological research. The results show a myth about the beginning of the world. In the beginnings of the world there is one temple. It belongs to Enlil. And Nintu, the goddess of another city, Enlil's city is Nippur, Nintu causes Enlil to come out of his temple. Enlil does so and looks at the mountains, and at this moment the mountains arise. They rise and become green. What does that mean? It sounds like a description of something about nature, but what is meant here is that the temples arise, and with the temples, the cities. The temples and their cities arise and flourish, because in Mesopotamian perspective, the world is flat, but there are mountains, and these mountains are the high temples, which every city has. So the temples arise, and there is one temple which is especially powerful and great, and this is the temple of Kish, or you can just call it the city of Kish. It is the same. The temple and its city, the city and its temple, it's all the land which belongs to the city god or city goddess. And in this situation, where this city of Kish rises above all other cities, all other temples, in this moment Enlil, the state god, sings his praise song. And this is very important because, as new research will show, the praise song has the power to transfer power. With his praise song, Enlil transfers power to the temple of Kish, and with that to Kish. There is another layer found in the myths conveyed by this text, where we see that it's not Enlil, but it is the city goddess Nintu who transfers powers to her temple. This is an older version, an older myth. And then Nisaba comes and she writes down this song of praise. In the consequence of this song, the temple of Kish is invested with its power. And the praise song to Nintu and Kish tells a myth about Enlil's praise song, about the creation of Enlil's praise song, and about the invention of the script, of writing to save it for the future. And this praise song quotes Enlil's song. This is one of the most beautiful stylistic devices I know. It's called misonabim. You tell something about something which you quote, and in the quotation you can start it again and again and again. It's like a Russian puppet. The praise song to Nintu is a ritual song. And the quoted song of Enlil is a ritual song as well. It is the sacred song of a deity. We are able to detect here the first sacred song, or one of the first sacred songs known to us. And such sacred song, this sacred song, is full of power. Sacred songs can empower temples, gods, kings and priests. In the case of Enlil, the ritual song makes the temple function as it shall. For example, this temple has the function to install kings to their office. And it has an importance, so this has an important function, and therefore it is regularly repeated at temple festivals, as the study of Kerstin Maywald has shown. Ritual songs, sacred songs of deities, are full of power. They empower temple, that they have the power to do what they shall. And I will show you here, I like to show you here a reconstruction of a very famous city and its huge temple precinct. It is not Kish, but it is the city of Uruk, the city where writing has been invented around 3500 BC. The reconstruction is dated to the 21st century BC. It is a wonderful reconstruction of the German Archaeological Institute, Deutsches Archäologisches Institut, DAI, and Artifacts Berlin. You see the temple precinct with some people performing rituals there, and in the background you see houses of private people, and at the horizon there is the land outside of this famous city, outside of its wall, the steppe. Ritual songs, sacred songs. This phenomenon is found in older as well in later sources. from the 3rd to the 1st millennium BC. And I can refer you to another YouTube lecture and soon to a monographic study, a book about sacred texts, secret rituals. Ritual songs are sacred texts in sacred rituals in ancient Mesopotamia, conjuring songs meant to change the world. And this new research results have implications for another famous ritual song, the so-called Song of Enlil to Inanna, as lady of all numinous instruments of power, or divine instruments of power. Sumerian Nin me Shara. This has implications for our understanding of the concept of ritual, literature, and authorship in ancient Mesopotamia, which is a much debated subject in current scholarship. So that will be the topic of our next episodes. So the next episode will be on Enlil, glimpses of history in a sacred song.